Hi, I'm Mason Marangella from Vertex Effects, aka The Rig Doctor, and today we're going to talk about 5 boutique pedals that have withstood the test of time that frankly I wish that I had made. Let's check them out. As somebody that manufactures pedals, I think that I speak for a lot of us when I say that our goal is always to create something that is going to withstand the test of time, that it's going to be relevant beyond just that month or that year or that decade. And we're hoping that our products are something that'll be solidified into the canon of guitar pedals. At least that's something that I always hope when I'm designing a pedal, and hoping that it's something that will withstand the test of time. But today I'm gonna look at 5 pedals that have really withstood the test of time and that have been relevant across at least 1 decade, if not more, and are still being utilized. We're still seeing them on boards and are really part of sort of the Mount Rushmore of boutique pedals that pretty much all of us have maybe owned at one time, if we don't even currently have it on our pedal boards. So let's look at these, let's talk a little bit about them. I'm gonna demonstrate them a little bit, and I'd also love to hear from you in the comments, pedals that you feel like have become part of the canonized group of boutique pedals. I know there's lots of mainstream pedals like the Tube Screamer or the Rat, or things that have been around forever that are gonna continue to be. But I really want to focus on smaller brands that have really created something special that we're still seeing everywhere. So if you got some of those suggestions, throw them in the comments. But here's my 5 that I think have really withstood the test of time. So the first boutique pedal that I really started seeing a lot of and has certainly withstood the test of time is the Robert Keeley Compressor. Now, in the early days when I was still in high school, in fact, I remember the 2-knob had come out and everybody was talking about what a cool compressor this was. All the shops wanted it. You could order it directly from Robert Keeley. Really cool compressor. But then a couple years later, the 4-knob came out, and you can see even when you're looking at the last 5 years of Reverb's best-selling pedals, that's always on the list in the top 15. And this Keeley compressor has actually sold almost 100,000 units. So I mean, that's a tremendous amount of units out there in our industry. Most of us are lucky if we can maybe move 5,000 of any particular product over the course of its life, maybe 10,000. But he's moved 100,000 of these over the course of its life, so pretty impressive. This is definitely a staple in the industry. Everybody still loves the Keeley compressor. It's still a classic, and it's so affordable for what it is. I think you can get a Keeley comp for $150 or less new, and it's still that same great circuit that we know and love that came back out in the early 2000s. And you can get the 4-knob now for a total steal, and I absolutely love this pedal. It was one of the first boutique pedals that I ever bought. I remember I didn't really even know that much about what a compressor was or what it did. And I just remember that I saw somebody say that you either had to turn the knobs and face each other, or you had to split them apart far wide out. And that was the 2 basic tones that you would get out of it. And I remember not really knowing what it did, and I just put it on and turned it on, and I just knew that I sounded like a better guitar player. And I've loved that pedal ever since. So shout out to Robert Keeley for not only making something that has withstood the test of time, but one of the first boutique pedals that I ever bought. Robert's a great guy. I've got to know him a little bit as I've been in the business, and I'm just so happy that this is something that I started out with early on when I started buying boutique pedals, and is still among the canonized group of pedals that have withstood the test of time and is still relevant now 20 plus years later. All right, the next pedal that has withstood the test of time is without a doubt the Fulltone OCD. Equally, if you're looking in the Reverb bestseller list of the last 5 years, this is always in the top 10. People love this pedal. Not only does it sound absolutely spectacular, but it's also one of the early kind of Marshall in the box style effects. And I think that because it had that great sound early on that a lot of people connected with, it's definitely maintained its allure and its popularity in the industry. And again, just like the Keeley compressor, it's an absolute bargain for what it offers. Fulltone pedals are among the best made out there in terms of the build quality, and without a doubt, this delivers not only on tone, but also in the quality of the product. and they've made several different versions of this, but I think no matter which version you have, it's an absolute joy to play, feels great under your fingers, turns your clean Fender amp in kind of a more Marshall-y JTM 45 sort of vibe. Not too high gain, not too low gain, kind of sits absolutely perfectly. And another pedal that I knew when I was in high school, when the boutique craze was happening in the early 2000s, I knew I wanted this pedal. It took me a couple years to be able to save up to get one, but now they're such a bargain. I think they're also below 150 bucks to buy at retail. So for a boutique pedal of that quality, an absolute steal. Certainly one of my favorite pedals of all time. I'm gonna play a little bit of it for you, but big shout out to Mike Fuller for making a killer pedal and really making it something that has withstood the test of time and is definitely on the Mount Rushmore of best boutique pedals of all time. For the next two pedals, these are from the same manufacturer, Xotic. Now, Xotic was certainly one of the coolest pedals that was out when I was a high school student, a young guy trying to get into the boutique pedals. And I remember they used to have these reality videos where it was kind of like on a shaky camcorder, and they would take footage from the baked potato or interviews that they would do with some of the guitar heroes of the day. Young Josh Smith, Alan Hines, all the great players, Paul Jackson Jr. And I remember wanting these early pedals that they came out, like the BB preamp or the RC Booster or the AC Booster. They just almost immediately took over the entire boutique pedal industry at that time. But if we're looking at those same lists of most popular pedals on Reverb, two Xotic pedals come up over and over and over again. One of them being the EP Booster, the small Echoplex style preamp booster, and the second one being the SP Compressor. Again, another pedal that came out a little bit after the EP Booster in the same size factor, which was an excellent compressor that we see used by so many great pros, from Paul Jackson Jr. to Michael Thompson. And both of those pedals, the EP and the SP, are absolutely on almost every pedal board that I've seen in the last 10 years that has come through here. Those are invariably either one or the other or both are on a ton of these pedal boards. Xotic did a great job of building two pedals that were small, compact, and right around that $150 price point that are still loved to this day, and again, seen on countless pedal boards. So I'm gonna play a little bit of these for you so you can kind of hear them. I might just put on a little compressor, then just add in a little EP boost on top of that, do a little solo so you can kind of hear how they sound together, but absolutely wonderful pedals. Xotic is one of those companies where I feel like they don't release a lot of pedals, but the pedals that they do release are all excellent and certainly withstand the test of time. And even though maybe the BB preamp isn't on this list or the RC Booster isn't on this list, I would definitely also consider those part of the canonized group of boutique pedals. Almost everything that they've come out with has had a long shelf life and is still relevant to this day. So big shout out to Xotic for making some great stuff that not only is reliable, but it sounds great and is still absolutely relevant even 20 years later. I'm gonna play a little bit of it. Thanks Xotic for doing such a killer job with these pedals. And last but not least, the fifth pedal that I think is an absolute standard in boutique pedals that has withstood the test of time and is also on that same list of the most popular pedals selling on Reverb in the last 5 years is the Paul Cochrane Timmy. Now this pedal, I remember when it came out, everybody wanted to either get the Tim, the larger version, or the Timmy. And I remember that they were so affordable, there was like no reason not to get it. Again, it's right around that $150 mark, maybe even a little bit less. And MXR even came out with a compact version this last year, which is also absolutely excellent. But I gotta give a big shout out to Paul because he was really maintaining the true essence of boutique. To my understanding, he was still building these even now on his kitchen table, making it a family operation. It was truly boutique. It wasn't getting done in a manufacturing facility. And he was really maintaining the small workforce that he had, family-owned business, and really doing this thing as a true boutique pedal company. It's an absolute great sounding pedal. It's been cloned by a lot of different companies over time. But man, Paul was really an innovator in this regard. It's a very cool circuit. I think it sounds absolutely great. And I would say it's probably one of my favorite rhythm distortion overdrive tones that I've ever played, versatile across every different type of guitar, whether it's single coils or humbuckers. I absolutely love it. And I think Paul has been one of those key people on Mount Rushmore there, right, with guys like Bill Finnegan that were really pure in their intention and their design philosophy and have stuck to it throughout all these years. I have a lot of respect for Paul. Big shout out to him and for the Timmy, great pedal. I'm gonna play a little bit of it for you. And man, these are just absolutely wonderful devices. So those were 5 boutique pedals that have withstood the test of time. As I said, as a pedal manufacturer, this is always the goal that at least I'm trying to hit. And I know a lot of my colleagues in the pedal industry are hoping for the same. When they release something, they not only want it to be popular now, they want it to be something that is part of the, Mount Rushmore, as I've been saying, of pedal manufacturers or pedals out there that are gonna withstand the test of time. So maybe one day I'll make something that's as cool as an OCD or as cool as a Timmy. I don't know, but until that time, I think we should really be celebrating these great manufacturers that have come up with these great ideas. And it's really been something that has been just an absolute rock solid device that's been relevant for multiple generations of guitar players and that we're still seeing just as popular when they came out, and a lot of these in the early 2000s, as we do now in 2021. So big shout out to those companies, and just really want to appreciate and respect the work that they're doing. And again, I hope maybe one day I might have something that even scratches the surface of what those guys are doing. If you're curious about where to find these pedals, or you haven't heard of any of these pedals, although I'd be surprised if you haven't, check out our links in the description. We have links to every single one of these pedals, so you can go check out more information on them. And of course, you can YouTube them to see more demos from better, more illustrious, and better skilled players than I am. So do check that out too if you're curious about any of those. And if you want to support what we're doing here on the channel, it would really go a long way to give us a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell icon. And if you want to stay in touch with us further, you can always head over to your favorite podcatcher, check us out with the Rig Doctor podcast, or head over to therigdr.com where we offer all the pedalboard supplies and materials we use to do all of our rig builds. Or you can head over to vertexeffects.com and purchase one of our pedals, help push us a little closer to some of the prestige of a lot of these devices that were best sellers over the course of the last 5 years, but really over the last 20 years in a lot of cases. That goes a long way of supporting us, making this channel more sustainable so we can continue to put out content just like this in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to all those manufacturers, Fulltone, Xotic, Robert Keeley, Paul C., for making these great devices and giving us all something to aspire to on the pedal manufacturer side. Thank you to them, and thanks for watching. See you later.